The following podcast is a Dear Media production.
Hello, and welcome back to your favorite podcast,
De-influenced.
You're back.
I'm back.
It's crazy. You left me here for quite some time.
Yeah, that was the longest I've been away from you in a long time.
You know, it's sometimes it's like
Good.
Yeah, sometimes it's
I know.
good.
I was
But
very aware.
I did really miss you. There were a couple nights there where I was drowning.
Really?
Like wow. But I knew this was your time. And so I was so happy for you to get out. And so I was trying to have the best possible attitude about it.
Was there a story arc of how you felt while I was gone? You were you felt free for 24 hours and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so fun.
It's like my parents are gone.
Yeah.
I have the house to myself.
And then it was probably I miss him. And then it was oh, this is really hard. And then it was I'm angry and resentful. And then it maybe came back up.
I don't think I was ever angry or resentful that you were gone. Did you feel that? I don't think I ever got that.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, towards the end, it was about something else, but it wasn't.
Yeah, no.
I don't think it was about me being gone.
No. Because I really like getting that one-on-one time with our kids. The thing is when you're watching, you're having 3, you don't even really get quality time because I was so invested in Summit the whole time because Summit was crying and needed to be fed. And so I couldn't even really pay attention to the other 2. So it's just different. Watching Stella and Stratton before Summit, it was fun because I could be and Stella was old enough to if something went wrong, she could come and tell me.
Yeah.
But now it's it's different.
Have you told anyone that we're a family of 5?
No, I
said it for the first time and I was like, dang.
We have a lot.
That's a big number.
It's how many people?
That's a team.
Yeah, because how many people play basketball? 5 people at one time.
Is it 5?
Yeah, 5 on 5. You play 5 on 5.
Wow, we have a basketball team.
Yeah, we have a basketball team. So if any other families want to take us on, Summit's not quite ready, but
what sport has 6?
Let me
Soccer?
think. 6 on 6. I've never heard of a 6 on 6 sport. Because then in soccer, what do you have? 10? I mean, 10 or 11? 11 on 11?
Huh. We got a basketball team.
Yeah, we got a basketball team. Okay, so we need to kind of update people on a little bit. I know our last episode, we talked a lot about the reality show. That was a hot topic.
Yes.
Not only in the show, but also between us.
I was at my therapist's office and I brought it up.
Yeah.
And I was like, I haven't told you about this yet, but there's this reality TV show going around Dallas. And he was like, oh, I'm aware.
What?
Yeah. He knew about it.
How?
My only guess, he was he knew all about it. He was like, yeah, I've heard wind. And my only guess.
Does he see any other?
Yeah, for sure. I send everyone to him.
Oh.
So
that's why.
But is it? Because I don't think anyone I've sent to him is involved.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, yeah. So I didn't know that they were involved.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's how we found out about it.
Yeah. Or.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway,
so really actually what it is it's all the husbands in there talking about it and being I'm so frustrated my wife wants to do this.
No,
he was so understanding. He was like, oh, another one.
Yeah, another one.
Another husband in here talking about this reality TV show.
So where I was at with the reality show, I was basically being accused of a thought crime, because
Oh, was she?
Because I was just vetting the process.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to learn more about, exactly what direction it was going, what network, if it was going to be purchased by Netflix or Hulu or Bravo, whoever it was. I was just trying to understand more. I was trying to understand some of the other characters, some of the storylines. The pilot, they want to film in 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And so I finally had my therapy session where I was able to take in all the facts I acquired and sit down and talk to my therapist man. my man. And laid out all the facts and really process them. And you know what we decided?
What'd you decide?
It's not for me. I had this one piece of drama happen to me this week on Instagram with like another person's text messages coming out where they were talking kind of crap about me. I couldn't sleep for like a week.
Yeah.
I can't handle this. Like, I'm way too freaking sensitive for this. And like, we really played out some scenarios and like what, like, okay, and then what would happen?
You have a little spit on your chin.
I got excited and I felt it, but I was like, I'm not gonna like wipe it off while I'm talking. Yeah. But I was like, we played out some of the scenarios and it was like, okay, if that happened, then what would happen? And then what would happen? And it was just like, it never really went where I wanted it to go. And I also feel like with the once I had another call with some of the people, it's nothing with
right.
I don't like the way you're looking at me.
Well,
I'm also not done.
Okay. I
don't like the way you're looking at me.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's condescending.
No, it's just so funny.
What? Okay, I'm sorry. I don't process like Einstein over there. Like you process so fast. Like, sorry, well, I need a couple days.
My big question, and I want you to finish, but my big question is, you're like, I sat down with my man, which it was your therapist, but I'm your man. And like, you basically were like, yeah, and then he would be like, and then where would this go? And then where would this go?
You never did that with me. You were just vehemently against it. And you didn't get curious and ask me more questions.
Okay, can I ask you?
We're getting off track.
Okay.
We're getting off topic.
Okay.
What do you want to ask me?
If I would have sat down and been like, Dani.
That's what I wanted.
But then you would have interpreted it from me as like not letting you spread your wings and fly.
Jordan, no, I wouldn't have. I wanted to talk about it and like
play it out.
Play it out. Yes, with you. But you were so closed off to it that I felt like we couldn't explore it together and get to process it together. I was sad because I wanted to get to that conclusion together where we both were like, yeah, it's just not a good idea. Like, think about what would happen if this happened and then this happened. And anyway, so, but I did that. And we got to another thing that like I also was able to play out and understand and think about was like, half the reason I wanted to do it is because I felt like I don't know everyone's character on there, but I know my own. And I was excited to, like, I like being like a fun Christian. Like,
yeah.
I like being the not stereotypical Christian that like everybody expects. And I'm not saying I'm going to do things like go places, whatever, but like, I like being able for people of all different backgrounds and faiths to feel comfortable around me.
Totally.
And then I feel like whenever they trust me and they understand that I'm going to love them no matter what, then I get to like kind of plant seeds, or like be like, oh, have you read this book or whatever? Like I like doing that. And I thought that this was going to be a really great opportunity for it. The more I thought about it, I was like, man, there can be so many ways that they could paint me as like the judgmental Christian girl that thinks that she's better than everyone else. That like, even though I'm trying to do the right thing, they will only take that one snippet and then I'm going to become something that I'm totally not. So then I thought, well, I'll just ask them if I can be a producer on the show too.
Oh, that's really smart, honestly.
Yeah. So then I was like, oh, I'll be like, I'll only do it if I can be one of the producers and I have final cut or like final say on the cut.
Yeah. It's pretty, what's his name? Ryan Reynolds move?
Blake Seacrest. Ryan Seacrest.
Oh no. But what I'm saying is like, isn't that what Ryan Reynolds did for?
Well, they didn't get it like contractually.
Oh, but Blake Lively was a producer.
She wasn't supposed to be, but she stepped in and did
that. Got it.
I was going to ask for like to be that role and to have final say. And I thought about it some more, and it's like, here's the thing: it's either like I do that, and I'm producer with final say, or I'm just out. But then I just thought.
To be clear, when I was gone with no phone, did you ask to be a producer?
No, I just told them I was out.
It's a great idea, though.
Yeah, I thought
one of the better ideas.
No, I thought so
regarding this show.
I thought so as well. But then I just decided,
honestly, that's how you would have gotten it past me. You should have totally done that. You should have been like, listen, I want to do a reality TV show. And then I would have gotten all angry and been like, this is a horrible idea. And then you'd be like, you can be a producer. And I'd be like, okay.
Wait. We
No.
could both be producers.
Listen,
Wait,
are
Jordan.
we about to take a 180 on
Wait,
this show?
Jordan.
I've always wanted to be a reality TV producer.
You don't even have to be yet. And like,
I've always wanted to. Should we start our own show?
should I just contact all of the ladies that are the ladies,
No,
the girls that are supposed to be in it, and we'll just
no. We'll build our own cast.
Okay.
But
I
does
know.
this make me a hypocrite? I don't know. I'm really struggling.
No, because I think we would know the story
Honestly,
we want to tell.
this makes actually so much sense for what I'm going to talk about. What I learned at SAD camp, like it all is about control, and what I felt like I was losing was control.
Okay, we'll get there. We'll
get there. But that actually, boom, light bulb moment.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
See, I did. Yeah. Anyway, so and then I just thought about like if there is going to be drama where they try to pin someone against me, or someone doesn't like me because of who I voted for or what I believe, or I don't know, like what could happen. I won't be able to sleep for a week. I cannot stand. It's hard for me when people are upset with me. Like I want to reconcile so fast. I hate when people hate me. Like, I mean, I know a lot of people hate me, you know, but like people that I actually know, I don't think a lot of people that I actually know hate me unless, I don't know. I mean, that would, you know.
Well, those text messages.
The text messages. But I didn't really know that girl. Anyway, and so that would keep me up at night. And then I was like, that's going to take me away from being like a good mom or a good wife, because I'm going to be so emotionally hurt by things. But if I was a producer.
I'm raising my hand.
Oh, I thought you were saying high five.
No. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Do you have any deeper level of empathy for what I was feeling after coming to these conclusions?
I could get there.
What's preventing you from getting there? Because all of the conclusions that you came to were the conclusions that I feel like I knew on the front end. Like I
think it was the approach.
From me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you unpack that?
I think it's the same thing like when someone yells at me, they might be like yelling the right words, but because they're yelling, I just shut down and I say, you're wrong and I'm right because you're yelling. It's just like, that's an example.
Can I ask this question?
So I can't even really hear what you're saying because of maybe the body language or the tone. Like it's just, I just put up a wall.
See, I see it a little bit differently. And can you receive this? Open, we all love each other here. Can you receive this? I feel that with you had to come to this conclusion on your own. And it doesn't matter how I approached you or anyone approached you. It had to be fully your decision. That's the second conversation we had about the reality TV show. And I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast, but the piece that I had made about it is it's not about who's right and who's wrong. It's about me trusting Dani to come to this conclusion on her own, which isn't it funny that we came to the same conclusion? I was just there first.
But that's how it always is. You process so much faster than me.
Right. I know. Listen, I'm not blaming you. I'm actually trying to glean the lesson from this. Like there's a huge lesson here that like we ended up on the same page and there's some type of husbandly lesson of just being patient and listening and just standing by.
I think if there's something that you and your spouse are disagreeing over, let's just bring up the example of making an offer on a house or buying a house. If one person is for it and the other is against it, then I feel like instead of trying to convince each other 24/7 that one is right and one is wrong, I would encourage each one or encourage your spouse to go talk to the people that like you trust within your circles. So whether it's like your therapist or like a counselor or a friend that you like really respect or someone that you know has both of your best interests at heart, not like the wife's best friend, because the wife's best friend's gonna be like, yeah, just go buy the house. But like someone that you like, for us, it would be like a therapist or a counselor or your pastor at your church or something. And like go talk to people that are gonna like, I don't know, kind of like guide you in the right direction, because sometimes it is really hard to hear from your spouse.
Thank you for saying that. That's all I really wanted to be said.
You didn't give me the time to do that.
All I really wanted to be said is it's really hard to hear that from your spouse, because I think that me and your other man, your therapist, probably had a lot of the same thoughts and a lot of the same challenges. But sometimes I truly just believe, and it's not you, it's not your fault. I think that this is a true biological husband and wife thing, that wives do not want to hear certain things from their husbands.
But Jordan, like,
male produced in the room. Okay,
but the
50-50.
thing is I wanted to talk to you about this, but you know how you would get when it was brought up.
Yeah, no.
You were not like,
well, you just blown up your life. I was like, why are we blowing our lives again?
yeah, but you were not easy to communicate with.
Yeah, no, the first time.
Yeah, I mean, lots of times.
I know. It like literally created
like a visceral reaction.
Like my nervous system, like,
yeah, it's like when your
almost
stomach does
combusted.
Yeah, when your stomach does like a flip flop.
Yeah, and like
I know.
my blood pressure and like my hands are like shaking, and like that is how visceral my reaction to this reality TV show was.
I know, and so that's why we couldn't talk about it.
I know.
But
my question is like, and then we can move on, is like, first of all, I'm so proud of you for processing this all on your own and working with your therapist and being receptive to the feedback and criticism and other input from other people. So proud of you to the conclusion that you came to. I believe it was the right one, and not just because it was what I felt, but I'm proud of you for doing it on your own. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave on a high note.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm proud of you.
Okay. Wow.
It was big, right?
Big.
That's what I learned at SAD camp.
I do want to talk about
SAD camp.
SAD camp.
That's what we all called it.
But before we do, let's see if there was anything else that we wanted to catch up on. Hold on.
Disney. A lot of moms against Disney.
Yeah. I don't know.
Have we seen a shift? Because I'm assuming when I was gone, you didn't let Disney in the room.
Yeah, I've been. I went
She's
full
been
on.
so nice today.
No, I went full on Miss Rachel while you were gone.
Honestly, I'm seeing it.
Well, but here's the thing. I'm not saying Miss Rachel was best either. I honestly don't know. But Miss Rachel teaches.
That's going to create a whole other slew of comments.
But Miss Rachel teaches them like letters and numbers. And I watched all the episodes with it. Was great. Like they're just like singing phonics. Yeah. Phonics. You know, like I was jamming too. I feel like the kids were actually learning their alphabet.
Yeah. It's boring though.
It's kind of like a little trippy when you start watching it.
I know, it really is.
You're like, why can't I stop? It's like Cocomelon with all those colors. It's like addicting.
Yeah.
So I thought we had another really like sweet conversation that meant a lot to me since you got home. Do you know which one it was?
Oh, the one where you said you've never talked to me like that before?
Oh, no. I wasn't thinking about that.
Oh.
He talked to me really nice one night.
Yeah.
And I said, Paul, you never talked to me like that before. No, this was different. This was a conversation that we had about breastfeeding.
Yes. No, this was the same day, to be clear.
Yeah. You were on a roll.
I was on a freaking roll.
Do you want to tell them about
coming
that
off
one?
my high of SAD camp? What?
Do you want to tell them about that conversation?
Yeah, I think we'll get into this, but I think the gist of the pattern in the two conversations that we had was that I wasn't coming to you trying to defend myself. I was like so secure in my place in our relationship that I was actually able to understand and love you more sincerely and more selflessly than you had probably experienced in the past like 3 years.
Do you want to say like what the breastfeeding conversation was?
The breastfeeding
and the pregnancy one.
Why don't you? Because I kind of left on a high note and I don't want to butcher it.
Okay, so we had a sweet conversation because I felt like the past year or so being so sick with this pregnancy and then also having the flu 10 times. There were a lot of times that it was really easy for Jordan to feel like frustrated because I was always sick or I was always nauseous from being pregnant and I think in that because of other things as well, he started to like lose empathy for me. And it was more so just like annoying when I was throwing up.
Yeah, and resentment.
And it was more annoying than like when I was throwing up pregnant than like, oh, she's pregnant, poor thing. Like, so it over time, it was really hard for me because I was like, man, like I'm pregnant, I'm growing this child. I'm every single day, like my feet are killing me, my back is killing me. And I don't feel like my husband like feels for me. Like I don't feel like I feel like he's more annoyed than he is like, good job, babe, keep growing that child or that baby, you know?
Yeah.
Or like appreciative for the sacrifices that women make when they're pregnant. Like it's a lot. And so I kind of like knew that happened pregnant, but then I was like, can I tell you, I kind of feel that way about like breastfeeding now because, you know, when I'm pumping it's 3 hours a day when you're just pumping or feeding. That's not like burping the baby or washing the parts or storing the milk. So it's like really probably about 4 hours a day that you are breastfeeding. If you times that times 7, it's like 28 hours a week that you are breastfeeding a baby. Like it is a lot of work. And I feel like sometimes I was like, I think it's more annoying to Jordan than it is like, thanks for feeding our child, like keeping our child alive. Or, you know, like Stratton had really bad constipation issues whenever he was a baby. And I always felt guilty about not being able to breastfeed him. And with Summit, I'm able to breastfeed him and I'm like doing really well. But you almost like need someone cheering you on because it's so hard because it's so easy to just like throw in the towel. Kind of like having that unmedicated birth. Like it'd be so easy to just be like, you know? And so I got to tell Jordan, I'm just like, I don't know if you like feel for me. Like, I don't know if you like care or.
No, you actually asked me, did I have any empathy for you
during pregnancy?
During pregnancies, like the first and second. And I admitted to you that like probably the first, but like the second and third, no. Like I struggled with empathy towards you because, and it's so complicated. I don't know how much we've talked about even in the I Blew Up My Life episode, but it's like, it was so hard to separate what was just naturally you struggling through a pregnancy, which should be like adored and like, you know, every wife who's pregnant should be treated like a goddess. But it was like, it was compounded with you pushing yourself really hard and, you know, you getting sick and getting the flu. And so like I resented your drive that I felt led you into these sickness cycles. Because I felt like it was your choice, you know? And so it's hard to separate those decisions away from just you naturally being fragile because you're pregnant, you know? And so then what you experienced from me was like the resentment that I had towards you for the choices. And then it compounded your resentment back at me because you're like, he doesn't even care that I'm like hurting or raising his child or feeding his child or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And that was tough, but I was honest with you.
Yeah.
And a big part of SAD camp for me was facing those resentments that I had and leaving in the past. And so I think that when I came back from SAD camp, like so much of it for me was being able to like just love you. And I think you felt it. Like you felt it really deeply. Like in our first conversation when you were like, you haven't talked to me like that before. And then you felt it from my genuine ability to be like, hey, I didn't appreciate you during this third pregnancy and I didn't empathize with you well. And like, I'm sorry. And I so understand how hard it is. And like, thank you for the sacrifices that you've made as a mother.
Thank you. My boobs will never look the same. I appreciate that.
I mean, they look great.
Oh my God. The stretch marks are just, it's depressing.
I thought those were just there were stretch marks. I thought they were veins.
No, the purple. I don't know if those go away either. I don't know. I'm gonna have to, I don't want to Google it because I think they're bad. Anyway.
Interesting. We'll look at those later. I have not noticed them. Or maybe I just am like, we're in a breastfeeding state. I don't know. I'm so excited about this next ad. Y'all know I've been on a health kick since 2024, and part of this journey is upping my protein intake every day. As I'm sure you've heard, Dani mentioned how much protein I eat in a day on the podcast. You could say it's a lot, and with limited options for protein-packed meals, they can get rather redundant. This is where Premier Protein comes in. Their ready-to-grab drinks are high in protein, and with 1 gram of sugar, it makes it an easy and fun way to help your health journey happen. Plus, they have so many different flavors like cake batter, caramel, chocolate peanut butter, and so much more. I never get bored because I could have a different flavor every day if I wanted to. Staying healthy can be hard, but Premier Protein makes it easy and fun. Visit premierprotein.com and go to where to buy to find a retailer near you or to find where to buy online. Premier Protein, sweeten the journey.
It's a new year, which means new health goals. Well, something I've been seeing over and over again is how having a healthy gut is imperative for your health goals. This is where Just Thrive probiotics come in. Did you know most probiotics die in your harsh stomach acid before they can do much good? Just Thrive probiotic is the only probiotic clinically proven to arrive in your gut 100% alive. For you, that means better digestion, healthy immunity, great energy, and easy weight management. This means a metabolism that works with you, not against you, and digestive comfort you can feel. It comes in a capsule or berry-flavored gummy, so there's an option for everyone in the family. Plus, Just Thrive probiotics are backed by an industry-leading guarantee. Love the way you feel or get a full product refund. No questions asked. Visit justthrive.com and use code Dani for 20% off your first 90-day bottle. That's like getting a month for free. That's justthrive.com, promo code Dani. Here's to your best health with Just Thrive. Speaking of postpartum and getting my health back to normal after having Summit, I want to talk to you guys about one of my favorite women's health products, O-Positive supplements. O-Positive is on a mission to deliver innovative, clinically backed, fun-to-take products that support women throughout every stage of their life. Whether you've just had your first cycle or first baby, O-Positive is here to help you keep your hormones balanced. O-Positive's URO vaginal probiotics is one of the top 5 supplements on Amazon, and they have multiple #1 products in Target for intimate care, PMS, menopause, and menopause categories. The URO probiotic supplement has clinically studied probiotic strains and prebiotic fibers that target issues like off pH level and more. With so many factors in our everyday life, like tight clothing, sweat from working out, hormones, and more disrupting our vaginal health and causing imbalances and discomfort, O-Positive makes taking care of your womanhood easier. It's truly become a staple in my routine, and I love that it's science-backed. It's so important for women to prioritize their health around every turn, and this is a great way to do it. Plus, O-Positive has something for every woman, no matter what stage of life she's in. They are there to support you. Take proactive care of your health and head to opositive.com/Dani or enter Dani at checkout for 25% off your first purchase. That's O-Positive, OPOSITIV.com/Dani for 25% off. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess we could do like a little recap on that I Blew Up My Life episode, and then you can talk more about Side Camp.
Yeah, I don't know if what we talk about on these podcasts is confusing to people because it's so hard to understand the history of the past like couple years.
I don't think it's confusing. I've gotten a lot of DMs saying it's so relatable.
Really? What parts are relatable?
The I Blew Up My Life episode, I think like a lot of working moms or moms that honestly, not even working moms, sorry, like just moms in general struggle with the same thing.
Yeah.
Because I think that something I talked about in my Instagram story is like there's this culture of like females, girl bosses, where it is like you're a little girl and then your parents are like, Dani, you're going to be a doctor. You're going to be a lawyer. You're going to get into this school and then you're going to dream. You're going to do big things. And then so like you do those things, you go to school, you start hustling, you start achieving everything you ever dreamed of. And for me, I achieved more than I ever dreamed of. I got to a point where I didn't even know where else to dream. I was like, things I didn't even know were possible were coming to my door. Like it was so much. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it. I'm doing it big. Like I can't stop. But no one ever talks about the transition from success to contentment. Everyone talks about the hustle to success.
Yeah.
But no one ever talks about like just being and like then you get the success and then you're like, wait, I'm here. Where are we going now? I'm up here, I'm at the top. And then you're just like, this isn't as good as I thought it was going to be. And everybody always told me my entire life, especially all the girls on Instagram, everyone coming out with these courses about how to grind and how to get your email newsletters out and how to increase your sales and how to grow in followers and how to get more likes. And you take all this information and you apply it and you do it and you're killing it. And then you're like, wait, I'm so empty. And like, how do I transition from this insane success that everyone around me is telling me is it to actually taking steps back and going back down the mountain, taking steps and like taking a couple hits and being content? Like, how do you let go when you've like acquired and grasped so much? It's really hard to let go because you're scared that you're going to lose it. And everybody around you is like, oh, I wish I could do what you're doing. How do you do it all? And you're like, I'm drowning. And so, that letting go to contentment is the stage in the transition that like I'm in right now.
Yeah.
You take a hit on every aspect. You take a hit in how much time you spend on yourself. Like even like having time to like shop and put together outfits. You have less time in how much like I work. So like my bank account is not the same. I different times like with my friends. Like everything is different now. And but it was hard because you had to let go. You have to be okay with it kind of declining. But it's not really declining because it's actually more fulfilling. So you're actually going higher up the mountain.
So
counterintuitive.
Can I ask a couple questions about this? Because I processed it a lot more since that episode, and I was actually having a couple conversations about this at SAD camp, and it was like,
it's not really called SAD camp. He calls it SAD camp.
We all called it SAD camp. We were all sad there. But so this girl boss era, like I feel like another nuance that wasn't really talked about in that era is the role that a mother plays to the children that like wasn't factored into this girl boss equation, right?
Yeah,
so
like people didn't like, they forgot about that part of the equation.
Yeah,
100%.
because what I feel like Dani and I started to realize, and what this was a big part of my resentment, is that before we had kids, I was the biggest feminist out there. I was like, yeah, hell yeah, like go achieve, like go do, go break the glass ceiling. Like I was so behind you and I was so proud, and I still am proud, and I think you were proud of yourself. But the variable that is very rarely talked about is there is a role that the mother plays in the home and in the children's lives that cannot be replicated. You can't replicate it with nannies. You can't replicate it with the dad. You can't replicate, like the mother is the heart of the home. And I feel like that is kind of what hit you too, is like you had this like divine calling that you felt, and you felt a conviction for, like, I need to be home, and I need to play this role in my kids' lives. And you knew it even better than I knew it, but I felt that it was kind of off.
It was like tugging at me so much, but I couldn't let go.
Yeah. And so, and because like this whole other part of society is like, go do, go be, go excel, like go, you don't need no man, like all of this kind of stuff. And just through our story, I've realized how destructive in some ways that girl boss era really was. On moms and, on families, I would say too. And in some ways on marriages. Now, like, what am I saying and what I'm not saying? I'm not saying that I don't support you working at all. Like I'm here, I'm in the podcast. Like, I help you film some stuff. Like I love that you work and that you love to work. Right. But that balance is probably got to be so hard to find, like as women, because when you came back from your break, you very specifically were like, well, I don't want to like over pendulum swing on the other side either and lose my entire identity and my entire sense of self and ambition in my kids either.
It's so hard.
It's so messed up. Like, and it's so crazy. And I will give it to you. Like as I process this, I will give it to you and to other females that men don't have the same societal pressure. Like our job is to protect and to provide, and like we get to go work, and mom takes care of the kids.
But I think that you also like innately feel that
Yeah, it's
like that's what you're supposed
designed.
to be designed.
And you know, people are not going to like me saying that, but I really do feel like it's a biological design to want to go and love your family by providing and protecting and creating stability within the home. And I think it's like part of your biological design to love and to nurture and to create the culture of the home and be present. And like the way that you blew up your life and the dynamic and the culture of our home before that and now is totally different.
Yeah.
In the best way. And we see it in our kids. We see it in our marriage.
Because people tricked me. Like people
tricked me.
No, I'm serious. Like female entrepreneurs online, like I don't want to name them, but like I could probably name 5 that I aspired to be like, that all had kids. And they write these books about how they do all these amazing things and how they have kids. And it's all BS. Like, I'm sorry. There is no way that they were the moms that they wanted to be and the like CEOs or entrepreneurs that they wanted to be. Like, I'm telling you, I tried it. It's literally not possible. Something had to give. And like there's just no way. And like, I'm not saying maybe you can find that balance for a couple of months, maybe for a year or two, but like they both require 100% of you, really.
Yeah.
If you want to do them well, like if you want to excel like really, really well. And so, yeah. And I think it breaks my heart the most that like moms that just want to be moms, like that they are not treated like CEOs, like these famous CEOs of Fortune, 500 companies. Like it is by far the hardest job I've ever had. And I've had some pretty tough gigs. I've done some live TV stuff. I've done some really high pressure stuff. And that being a mom is like, I mean, it's so much more than all of
being
that.
Being a stay-at-home mom, no help, is the hardest job.
Yeah. I mean, but I'm not even saying stay at home. Like just being the mom that you want to be. Like whether it's just hard. And so, so I just wish that was like celebrated more too. Or
Can I make an observation too?
Yeah.
I feel like a big thread of the hater community towards influencers is like you are creating an unrealistic depiction of motherhood and working and all this stuff by not being transparent about.
Well, I post about my nannies and people shit on me all the time because I'm being honest. I'm like, they all have nannies, okay?
Yeah, no,
they just hide their nannies.
They all have nannies. It's kind of been like a big full circle loop for me to be like, I kind of side with the haters on this. Like, I think it's like, if you are like, they tricked me, they being like the books that you read and these aspirational entrepreneurs, feel
you only
like
see one side, it's one dimensional.
Right. But I think that the haters feel that the influencers tricked them too.
I get that. I mean, I get that. Like, okay, so I'm part of the problem. I'm sorry.
So we make amends. We realize.
Here's the thing though, like
that's why the podcast is called De-Influence. We're here to deconstruct.
But here's the thing. I get confused with that because I get people DM me all the time. They're like, I would never want to live the way that you live. They're like, you look miserable and so tired.
You're like, I was.
Like,
I blew up my life.
They like watch because it's like the shit show that they can't take their eyes off of.
Yeah, they're like, dude, this girl's just got to stop. And honestly, now that like we've seen the other side, I will sometimes like be in yours and I'll like watch other influencers who are like grinding it, and like I know the grind if I see it, and they're like getting sick, and I'm like, oh man, they haven't seen the light yet.
Yeah, you know? I mean, you just really never know though through the screen. You can't judge from the Instagram stories, but yeah. So Jordan's gonna go join the Reddit page. So
like, hey guys, it's me.
Like, yeah, listen, she sucks.
Yeah, we do suck. We're a bunch of monsters over here. No, I really would love to. I think that they would appreciate if I was like, I'd be like, hey, first of all, like I'm happily married with 3 kids. I'm not gay. Second of all, like I agree with you guys. I'm sorry.
You're like, I come in peace.
Yeah, I come in peace.
We are friends.
We are friends.
Not enemies.
That's funny. I don't think if they didn't have me and you to hate, I don't know what they would do on a Saturday at 4:00 in the afternoon.
So you're welcome.
We have a very, what do they call it? Symbiotic.
We need you and you need us.
Listen, we we need each other. We're an ecosystem.
We're an ecosystem. You have to keep Dani angry, you know? Y'all know I love luxury items, but want to know what I love even more? Luxury items when there is a deal involved. And that is why I love Quince. Quince is my go-to for luxury essentials at affordable prices. Also, I'm obsessed with their socks. They have really good socks and sweaters. They offer a range of high-quality items at prices within reach, like 100% Mongolian cashmere sweaters from $50, washable silk tops and dresses, organic cotton sweaters, and 14-karat gold jewelry. The best part, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering directly with top factories, Quince cuts off the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. Plus, Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing. Love that. I've gotten a few luxury sweaters and tops that I'm obsessed with from Quince, and for a good price, it only makes me love these pieces even more. Give yourself the luxury you deserve with Quince. Go to quince.com/Janie for free shipping on your order and 365 days returns. That's QUINCE.com/Janie to get free shipping and 365 days returns. Quince.com/Janie. They really do have like the best sweaters and like sweaters and socks. I'm telling you, they kill it. Okay, guys, this is a hard one. This is tough. Y'all know how much I loved, past tense, Hazel and Lilda. Our two dogs meant the world to us. That is why we always gave them the best lives possible. This is where Farmer's Dog comes in. Traditional pet food is highly processed and difficult to portion correctly, but the Farmer's Dog has changed with their freshly made food. They take the guesswork out of serving sizes by precisely portioning your dog's food based on their unique nutritional needs. The pre-portioned packs are simple to serve and ensure your dog is eating the right amount to keep them healthy and thriving. It made feeding our dogs so easy, and we felt reassured that we were giving them the best food possible. Plus, the Farmer's Dog delivers right to your door, automatically sending you new food as soon as you're running low. And they have 24/7 customer support with real people, which can come in handy during the various stages of your dog's life. Get 50% off your first box of fresh, healthy food at thefarmersdog.com/Dani. Plus, you get free shipping. Just go to thefarmersdog.com/Dani to get 50% off. That's thefarmersdog.com/Dani.
It's a new year, which means new goals. We're thrilled to officially be a family of 5, but this means our budgeting needs to change. This is where Rocket Money comes in. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Y'all, I'm so guilty of signing up for new streaming services or an app's free trial and then forgetting to cancel it. Rocket Money has changed the game when it comes to getting rid of subscriptions I don't need. See all of your subscriptions in one place and know exactly where your money is going. For ones you don't want anymore, Rocket Money can help you cancel them. Plus, Rocket Money's dashboard gives you a clear view of your expenses across all of your accounts. This makes it easy to create a personalized budget with custom categories to help keep your spending on track. You can see your monthly spending trends in each category to know exactly where your money is going, and you get alerts if your bills increase in price, there's unusual spending activity, or if you're close to going over budget. Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lower bills for you. They automatically scan your bills to find opportunities to save. Then you can ask them to negotiate for you. They'll deal with customer service so you don't have to. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/Dani today. That's rocketmoney.com/Dani. rocketmoney.com/Dani.
Yeah, so basically that was the episode. I had said in 2024, I've looked at the mom I was, the mom I wanted to be. I visualized them and thought, wow, this is so different than who I am. And how can I get there? I don't know. Let me blow up my life. And so, so that's what I did. And I took 2 months off and did a crap ton of therapy and read a lot and learned a lot. And just really tried to change. And if anyone has ever actually tried to change, like, let's say you're a selfish person and you want to become, selfless and you want to serve people. It is so hard to actually change.
Yeah.
Like to change your behaviors in the ways that you think. It actually does require like a higher power. Like it kind of requires you to ask God to also help you change. Because let me tell you, it's almost impossible without God. Like you really have to be like, God, will you help guide me and rely on him and go to him like every single day and surrender every single day. and start your day like in prayer and remembering who you want to be. Cause like, otherwise you wake up the next day, you're right back to your old habits. It's 32 years of living the same way. How am I going to change that without God? It's a miracle that I was able to. So I'm telling you, that's how I know God is real. And so yeah, I just talked about that. I worked on changing, and I really do have a different relationship with myself. I have a different relationship with Jordan, with my kids, with work, with social media, with everything in my life. It's so funny. Like Jordan came home and he got in bed and he turned on the TV, and I was like, yeah, no, we don't watch TV anymore. like not the cool thing to do. Like we read at night. Like we, like we journal, we do this. Like now when I have a problem and I have feelings that are like, I usually would go to Jordan and I'd tell him immediately, or I would just bring all this crap and like lay it on him. And now I have like probably 5 people on my phone that I call, and they know literally everything about my life. And so I process it with them first, and then I talk about what my plan is, and then I go do my plan. Like it's just I just approach life differently. And right now I have those 5 people that I'm relying on. 2 of them I pay, 3 of them I don't. So it's like that type of thing. But like then it's developing these like muscles in me, and like this first year, I'm going to take it really seriously. I even told there's like some personal people in my life that I have conflict with. And I'm like, if we want to have a big conversation about our feelings, the only way I'm going to do it is if we have like a third party, like we sit down with a counselor or something, because I have learned from my bad habits that like, I can't communicate with you well. Like, so let's just not do it anymore. Let's learn, like, if we're going to move forward, let's do it differently, Yeah. And so, yeah, I just want to do things differently for a year. And I think that like, I'll look back and be like, wow, I just did it. And I wasn't even thinking about it. I just changed, So anyway, that's kind of where I was at. And then Jordan started making little comments. He was like, wait, I need to go back. I need to get away.
Well, so welcome to part 2. And this part 2 is how I blew up my life. I'm glad that you recapped, because I think it helped me figure out where to go with this. But I think that all throughout that time, I really developed a lot of resentment towards you because I felt like, I said it earlier, but I felt like you kept, I was constantly being like, here's an out, or hey, read this book, Atomic Habits.
You would buy me all these books and I
these
hated
self-help
that.
books, and I'd be like, hey, like here's how I manage my life. Like maybe this will help you. Or like worst times I would, literally intervene on levels of like setting up new calendar processes like in your phone, or like, I'm going to reorganize the apps on your phone because I feel like you're really stressed out by these apps. And like,
you hired
I would
that
be
guy.
Too.
That like life coach guy that was business coach or whatever.
I hired a life coach guy, and Dani went to one session and then we backed out.
I was like, get me the F out of here.
And I was like, he
was like, what do you want out of your life? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, you were like stressed out by the exercise. And I was like, hey, sorry, man. Like I tried, like this isn't going to work. But I literally this is my story. Like I feel like I was doing everything to prevent the train from going off the tracks. And ultimately, the train just had to go off the tracks. And so when Dani blew up her life and came back, I really did start noticing a lot of changes in her. And I was like, okay, she's like trying to be a new person, and she's growing, and like her patterns are changing, and she's not as like focused on social media. But I was still so angry.
Yeah.
And I was so resentful towards you. And I hated you. Like I did. I'm
like,
yeah, no, it's okay. Like we're okay. I went to side camp. So she's pregnant with our 3rd child. And I already feel like, she doesn't know how to balance and carry the load with our current 2 children because she's wrestling with this. And so I'm like, now I'm going to have a 3rd child. And I feel like I'm going to be the one holding the bag with this new child and like trying to keep it all together. And I just felt like I was the glue. And you'd probably agree that I was the glue. Like I shouldn't have been the glue. I made myself the glue, but you accepted me as the glue.
Oof.
You've already talked about all this.
Heavy shit. Okay, go on.
And so you come back and you start changing, and the changes that you were making were every change I've ever wanted to see in life. Like every change I've wanted to see in life. Like you were an awesome mom, and I felt like I could feel at peace, but there was just these like resentments that I was having so much trouble letting go of. Like it was hard for me to see you as a new Dani.
It's almost like annoying too, probably.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, like you blow up your life.
And now
like
you come back and
you could have like I scheduled us a therapist who wanted to like map out the next 10 years of our life, and you made me cancel it. Like I was a little bit resentful even of the changes, because I was like, where you been like the past 3 years? Like I gave you Atomic Habits. Like now you're freaking reading it. It's like, it's the funniest thing. It's like the same thing I feel in a much more reserved way, but it's the same thing I felt with the reality TV show conversation like 20 minutes ago, where it's like, you come to the same conclusion, but like it's on your crazy roundabout path. And I'm like, hey, I've been here the whole time being like, hey, this thing is going off the tracks. And so I blew up my life, and I decided that I needed to go away. And we had been in marriage counseling and trying to work through these things. And, a lot of what our marriage counselors did was pointed the finger back at me. Like I, for so long, was able to point the finger at Dani and be like, you're so unhealthy. You don't listen to anybody but yourself. Like you're doing all these things. And then you changed and you were doing all the right things. And I still had my finger pointed at you. And our marriage counselors kept being like, hey, Jordan, like, why are you pointing the finger at Dani? What is your part in this? And I was like, I don't have a part in this. Like, I'm awesome. I'm amazing. I've been trying to give her the warning sign since day one. Like,
you're like, I eat the same thing every single meal.
I eat the same thing. I'm the most perfect, like rigid,
consistent
person. And, they, through a couple different sessions, ultimately were like, hey, like, what if you have a part in this too? And at first I was pissed about that. I hated that. I was so angry. I was like, who do you guys think you are? And then it like started to dawn on me that I was still wrestling with these angry feelings I had towards you. Even though you're being so sweet and you're planning date nights and you were such a good mom, like I couldn't let him go. And it was the female therapist that we meet with for marriage counseling. And she was like, hey, Jordan, like, I think you should go to this place called Onsite. And I'd heard of it like through the grapevine, a lot of like, content creators, I've heard a couple like celebrities talk about it, and it's in Tennessee. And she was like, I went and it changed my life, because in their marriage, she is also what's called the codependent. And I wrote down some definitions of codependency because I think it's helpful. Codependency says, I have to take care of you, in my case, Dani, so that Dani will take care of me. Codependency is, I wrote this passage in my journal at Onsite. I so desperately wanted to take care of Dani, create health and happiness so that she would be able to take care of me too. This is where it was selfish. It was me begging for her to meet my needs. Resentment brewed when the more that I gave, the more I tried to fix, the less I actually got. The more broken our family seemed to get because my formula and my role in the formula was messed up. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So Onsite,
can I give like a little example?
Yeah,
so
let's talk about some examples.
I get really bad postpartum depression, and I haven't this go around. And with Stella, I remember I was really struggling to the point where I was in bed all day, and I was sleeping like 12 hours every night, and then I would take another 2-hour nap. And we didn't know what depression was. I'd never seen a psychiatrist or taken a medication before. Like I had no idea. And Jordan, that's probably when it really started. He was like hated to see me down like that. So he tried to fix it. And he started getting our groceries delivered, hiring all these people around us. We hired our first nanny then. He just tried to fix everything. And like he tried to put me in this bubble to protect me from everything. And it actually ended up like his heart was in the right place. I mean, maybe you didn't realize that you were doing it for selfish reasons so that I could get better, so that I could take care of you.
Yeah. Well,
at the time.
The selfishness, just talk about the examples, because the selfishness is like the deep track. It's like
Yeah.
that. It takes a while to understand
Yeah.
that.
So, but he tried to like fix it immediately, but it actually ended up making me sicker because it wasn't Dani like coming to these realizations and learning like, oh, I'm depressed and take care of myself and get myself out of this and like deal with it head on. It was Jordan trying to come in and fix everything. And so it actually just kept me in bed longer. Like,
well, it enabled you.
It enabled me.
Yeah.
So for example, the groceries were delivered. So I didn't have to get out of bed and put on my clothes and get out the front door and get like in the sun and go accomplish something that made me feel good about my self-esteem, my self-worth. Instead, someone came over and did it for me, which a lot of people would be so grateful for, but it wasn't like, to me, it didn't, after a while, it didn't feel like acts of love. It felt like I didn't have the space to be sick or to struggle. Like it felt like, oh my gosh, I'm sick again. I have to hide it from Jordan because I'm so scared like that he's going to react and freak out and get anxious about it. And it would also trigger Jordan. Like if I was ever sick, he would be in a horrible mood. And so instead of being like, oh, you're sick, like you have a fever, it would be like frustration. Like,
yeah, because in my mind, I was like, oh my gosh, like I've done so, like I'm exhausted. I put in so much work trying to prevent and fix, like, and it, like, how does this keep failing, right? Like, how does all of my actions still not leave me with this place where like she can take care of me too? And I really want to pause for a second, because this is like really important, I think, for our predominantly female audience to listen to, because I guarantee you that there are so many other husbands out there that are like this. The perspective from a husband, and I know this because a lot of my friends are like, dude, that's so me. A lot of the perspectives that I have as a husband was I felt that to be a good husband meant that I reduced the friction or stress or sadness or anything that my wife was feeling. I felt to be a good husband meant I don't want my wife to lift a finger. You know, I don't want her to stress about anything. And I think it's an actual perspective that is heralded by our society. You know, but it has a toxicity to it. Like, think about it. If you have a 13-year-old, right? And you prevent your 13-year-old from filling out their own applications or doing anything or doing their own laundry, what are you actually doing? Yes, you are getting to say, I am such a good person for pouring into this child. But what you're actually doing is you're taking away their ability to create autonomy, to learn, to fail, to develop grit, to feel a sense of identity and agency.
To feel good about themselves.
You take away their agency. And that is the very nature of codependency, which is I am going to do all of this. And the hidden secret side is, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm A+ husband. I am so amazing. Dani should be so appreciative, and she's not. And therefore I hate her, but like someone else will be. And like all of these intrusive thoughts keep creeping in because you're like, I'm awesome. You're sick and you can't do anything about it. What I didn't see is that I was doing all of those things because I actually was just trying to get my needs met.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that is like, it's so important to really understand the definition of codependency through the rest of the story. Does that make sense? Okay, now what were we going to say?
I was going to say, what are some other examples?
I mean, those are like the big ones in our business. You know, I would say, you know, and I think codependency is pretty rampant. I was talking to they call them guides, which is basically like my one-on-one therapist at Onsite. I was explaining to her our industry and how our industry works. And she was like, the way that she kind of described health in a relationship is she laid 3 hula hoops on the ground. So on the right side is Jordan and Jordan's needs and Jordan's desires and Jordan's goals. And on the left side was Dani and Dani's needs and Dani's goals. And then right there in the middle was a hula hoop that overlapped just a little bit with Dani's side and Jordan's side. So that like enough to where I could keep 1 foot in the middle of our relationship and our marriage, and then 1 foot on the right side, which is Jordan. And you could have your feet in each other's. And she said, Codependency is basically when Jordan leaves his hula hoop to go worry about Dani's needs so that his needs over here can be taken care of. So if Dani is sad or expresses any sadness whatsoever, Jordan leaves his hula hoop and says, "Oh my gosh, babe, what's wrong? Let's talk about it. Hey, I feel like you're not good. Are you good? Hey, what's up? What's up?" And it's not caring and it's not giving you space. And what it is it's saying, "I'm uncomfortable with your feelings. And so I don't want you to be sad because it makes me anxious and it makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong." That's codependency, right? But our industry, and I think that where we were really challenged by codependency is if you look at the nature of our work early on, not the past 2 years after we started Divvy, but early on, the brand is you. The brand is your happiness. The brand is keeping you happy so that you can display yourself on the internet, right? You had a whole team whose entire job was to reduce your stress and reduce your friction because the machine ran off of you, right? So when I talk about like my role, there's a time where I was like, man, we did what we did and we were healthy and it was pre-kids, right? Because there were no consequences. But then post-kids, what happened was there was like an imbalance in our life. And that's when I started to feel like I was complicit in, this is strong words, but I was like, I've been telling my therapist for years, I felt complicit in Dani's demise because I felt like if I'm codependent and my job, my literal job, not this job I'm giving myself as a husband and what it means to be a good husband, but my literal job is to keep this person happy and producing content and, on the internet, like it's ripe for just creating these bad patterns between husband and wife. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Tracking so far? So I think like, it's funny, I won't name their names, but like so many guys in our industry who are husbands are like struggling with this very concept because they're like, health is really hard to figure out what that looks like when the economics are literally tied to your wife's health or her not feeling sad or her not doing this. Like you mix up these roles of like, to be a good CEO, I keep the machine moving, which is the antithesis of me giving you space to feel sad and being okay and at peace with you feeling sad or angry or letting you fail, etc. So far?
Yeah.
So I went to Onsite because I was aware slightly that I had a role in Dani blowing up her life, but I had no idea how massive a role I had.
Just in blowing up my life or in like all of this sickness?
I knew that I was codependent and I had identified that that was a problem. I knew that I had some role to play and I knew that my lack of ability to acknowledge my role to play and where our lives have developed the past 4 years was keeping me angry and resentful towards you. And I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get out of that resentment and anger until I owned my part in it.
Yeah. And I think that before you went, I struggled a lot with the blame. Like I felt, I was like, what's the point? Like with even trying to, sometimes I felt this way. Like, what's the point? Like I'm trying so hard to get healthy and do and like be well. And like, I thought if I focused on myself, everything would trickle into place. And I was like, man, I'm not getting that love or empathy I thought I was going to get from Jordan.
No.
There was a funny, I don't know if you ever like really thought about this again, or if you think this is a stupid example, but the day before you left, he took his back out. Like he hurt his back.
Yeah.
And he was at the gym and you came home so angry because you were working out with this guy that was helping you and telling you exactly how much to lift and whatever. And he was so angry about this situation. Yeah. And can I say that you were blaming?
Yeah.
Okay. So he was so angry with his trainer and he comes home and he's like, I can't believe he made me do this new exercise. We've never done this before. He put more weight on me. Like I told him I wasn't feeling it. Like I told him that like I wasn't really mentally there. Like I'm just so angry he did that. And then he was really mad at the time. So I didn't say anything. And I was like, oh yeah, that sucks, you know? And then throughout the day, he would say something again, be like, man, I can't believe that trainer, he made me do that. Like, I'm just so annoyed. I leave tomorrow, whatever. And then at dinner, we sat at the bar, so his back was like still hurting. And he's like, yeah, I mean, he just made me do that exercise. And I'm like, hey babe, like you're saying that like he forced you to do the exercise. Like, you know, you're the one that lifted the weight and you're the one that put
Yeah.
yourself in that position and you're the one that did the squat and you're the one that hurt yourself. And if you didn't want to be doing that because you knew that you weren't in a good place, you could have told him that you didn't want to do that, but you did it to yourself.
Yeah.
It's not his fault.
No, it's a great analogy to like,
But it was just so funny because it was the day before you were leaving, and I was like,
well, the other challenge in the dynamic, I think the past couple of years with you is like, I think your blame is louder, right? So like codependency is like a very subtle lurking sickness. And it is a sickness, to be clear. Like your, call it workaholism, was a sickness. My codependency was a sickness. Yours was just louder. You could physically see the effects of your patterns in your health, in our family, et cetera. Like mine just was so subtle and masked in this like,
I love you. I'm doing everything for you.
Fake altruism. And like from the outside, I was a hero. And you just don't understand the control layers and the selfishness to it.
And there's one other part of it, not to make it more complicated, but like I did have 3 pregnancies in 5 years or 4 years.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We had 2 businesses blow up, 2 under 2, and then another child arrive. And then you blew up your life all in 4 years.
So there was a part of me that was like, I am also struggling with like just being sick from these pregnancies and trying to uphold the team that I have or the requirements that I have that like also feed at the time some of these businesses. Like, so I put a lot of pressure on myself for that too. So there was like a whole nother element of the complication. But
so I went to a place called Onsite, and it's really hard to explain, but I will start by saying I would trade every single dollar we have ever made to have gone to this place.
wow.
It absolutely, I was there for 5 days, and it was the most life-changing 5 days I've ever experienced in my life. And I think all other 32 members that were there too would say the exact same thing. And most people who leave it say the same thing. And a lot of people are there. So Onsite is big on this idea of like a 2-degree shift. You know, you can go in there for any reason. There were people there who were,
They had eating disorders.
Some were alcoholics. Some were like, I'm just stuck at my job. And the program is called like Living Centered. And the whole idea of it is like you go in and you might not even have clarity on what the problem is, but I guarantee you by day 1, you will know what the problem is. The coolest thing about this place is it's deep in the wilderness of Tennessee. So you are remote. They take away your phones. They don't let you say your last name, and you're not allowed to talk about what you do. So they are very good at very quickly stripping you down to exactly who God made you to be, or forcing you to be who you are and were made to be versus what you do. Okay. So it's hard to explain how that creates a culture and environment, but it immediately creates intimacy with every single other person that you're there with, because you can't fall back on, oh, you know, what do you do? Oh,
That's so true. Oh, it's everyone's like scapegoat.
And so, you know, I'm trying to figure out how much like I would want to share about the process, like, but they set you up with what's called a guide, and a guide is there to help guide you through why you're there, even if you don't know why you're there. You know, my experience ended up being threefold. One was, you know, talking about my childhood of origin, so childhood and the patterns and the hardwiring that was created there. And then it was talking about my current home, i.e. my resentments, my feelings, all the things that I went there for regarding my current home with Dani. And then we had like a third sheet, which was like a new marriage, right? So very quickly, I thought I went in there to learn how to forgive Dani and to just get back to the way things were. and that's what I had kind of been mourning too, is like when you blew up our lives, like there was kind of a mourning aspect to it too, where I was like, man, like if the train didn't go off the tracks, like we had it so good, like, and it wasn't, to be clear, but in my mind, it was a mourning process of like letting it go. And my guide very quickly was like, hey, like, what if the purpose of you being here is not to go back to, the marriage that was, but to create something totally new, a new Dani and a new Jordan and a new marriage. And I was like, dope. I'm down for that. Like, I like that. That was like my path. And, the funniest thing about Onsite is they really do this thing called is it psychotherapy or psychodrama therapy?
Psychodrama, yeah.
And it's a lot of like sort of role play, and like, they use a lot of props. Like I spent more time talking to little Jordan, which was a stuffed teddy bear, than I ever thought I would going into there. And I would like literally hold him. I would just literally hold little Jordan and we would just hang out. And like the whole purpose was like to help me understand my inner child and to understand where the inner child was wounded, and then be able to heal that inner child so that my adulthood could be more, complete. There was one exercise. Did you want me to talk about this?
Yeah.
There's one exercise where, again, she loved these hula hoops. She put the hula hoops down, and in one circle, it was like, put a characteristic of Jordan that you believe his character has. And I wrote consistency, and I put it in one circle.
Like, I eat chicken for every meal. 3 raw eggs.
And then the second circle was a friend that knows you well and who has been impacted by you. And I put, Devin or Miles. And then the third,
you're like, shout out besties.
And then the third was what you call your higher power. And I put God. And what you do is, you have to speak as consistency to Jordan. So I step into the hula hoop and I'm speaking as the characteristic of Jordan to myself and saying like things like, hey, Jordan, like, I'm consistency, and I just appreciate the role that you played in the home and the way that you've been able to be stable and the glue for your wife and for your kids and to hold everything together. And I'm like speaking mostly what I wish I had heard from others, but I'm speaking to myself. And so I'm like, whatever, this is weird. What a weird exercise.
You're like, I'm amazing.
And then I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm so great.
Consistently amazing.
And then I spoke as, friend, and it was like, hey, thanks for helping us be better husbands by failing at yours. Like, I literally said that. I was like, thanks for, like helping us to understand ways that we can learn to be better husbands as you go through the brick wall first, essentially. And I think that they would say the same thing. It's like, we're ahead of the game, in trying to figure all this out. And then it got to God. And I was like, first friend, I was like, silly. Like, is this all the 4 days are going to be? Like, and then it got to God, and I tried to speak to myself on what like God would say to me. And I just lost it. I just broke down crying, and I couldn't speak for like 5 minutes. And the guides there are so like gentle and like so understanding. And she helped me basically like, actually I wrote it down on the cards. I eventually said, hey, Jordan, I know that you know that I created you. I love you, Jordan. I know sometimes it's hard for you to see, to believe that I do. I appreciate your consistent dedication to your family, to breaking the cycle of generational sin in your home. And I know that you want to please me, but sometimes you try and do my job for me, and you don't have to do my job for me because I've got you.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And I died. I died crying. And it was pretty much 4 days of that. Like, I don't want to get into like, everything, but you're packed into this like weird sad summer camp and you're on this like giant high because everyone's so broken. And I just will say that like I had never felt God move and repair and like change people's lives in such a tangible, visible, like visceral way in my entire life. Like God was like literally in every single second of my time this past 5 days. And I called you, at one point, and a big part of like codependency, I think, is like not being honest about how you feel. And I got to like call and, sort of tell you like how I was really feeling. And I was so scared to do that because I was like, my whole job as a codependent is to love you so that you'll love me. So if I tell you something bad that I'm feeling, then you won't be able to handle it. And then it will affect my ability to come home and feel peace, And, my guy did it with me and I told you some really hard stuff and you were so grace-filled and like so amazing about just like understanding. And then we got off the phone and my guide was like, that girl's doing the work. Like that girl is like, I'm proud of her. She's killing it. Like she is like really working on herself. Yeah.
I mean, so just so we don't leave the people like with a cliffhanger here, was there a point where you turned the hatred into love?
Yeah. So that's where I was like
so we don't leave the people hanging.
That's where I was going to go with it.
And
like,
I mean, also just so you don't leave me on the cliffhanger.
At the end of my time there, I had this like vision, and my vision was I just like, oh, that's crazy. There's our wedding picture. I had this vision of almost like re-proposing to you, and like I had this vision of like a vow renewal ceremony, and
we're having a party.
It like meant so much to me because when I saw this vision of like remarrying you and like being able to like stand up at the altar again and even like re-proposing to you, it meant so much to me because it meant that in time, like as we kind of both like work on ourselves and like become new people, we both will be presented with this opportunity to like let the old people go and re-fall in love with like these new versions of Dani and Jordan. And like, I get to say, Dani's a totally different person than she was 3 years ago on the hamster wheel. And like, I choose her and I love her. And you get to say,
yeah, I'm still the same.
It's still the same. Not like, it's different patterns. It's a totally different acclamation. You get to say like,
I'm just a healthier Dani, not a different Dani.
Yeah, healthier. Fine. And you get to say like, hey, my husband gives me space and I don't feel suffocated by him. And he doesn't have these patterns that make me feel like I don't have any control of my own life. And you get to leave all of that behind and all of those resentments behind and say like, hey, I choose to love him too. And so, yeah, then we came home and my life was changed, and
he loved me.
And I handled two conversations the next day, pretty flawless, didn't I? You said to me, Dani was upset about something and she was bawling, crying, and old Jordan would have like.
Well, it's because he told me he hated me. That was why.
Wait, no, I didn't. I didn't hate you when I came back.
But that's why
I was healed.
No, but that's why because here's the thing: you were healed, but I wasn't healed from those words.
Oh, you're right, from those wounds. And you were upset again, you were crying again. And old Jordan would have been like, here we go again. Like,
no, when I tell y'all this kid had no empathy for me. No, I'm telling y'all, like I could be bawling, crying. Like someone could have said the nastiest things to me. I could be throwing my guts up because I was pregnant. I could be having the worst, GERD because I'm, he would be like,
no, I would not roll my eyes. I would do the right thing, but you didn't feel it.
You would do the
because
right
I
thing,
didn't feel
but
it.
you didn't. But you did it out of like anger or frustration.
I would do it. Like, it's like, this is what
like he'd go get the CVS medicine, but then like, it wasn't like, okay, like, I'm so sorry you're sick. Like, that sucks. Like, but you got this, babe.
No,
like,
it's
you're
it was
growing
a
our baby. Like, whatever you need. Like, you're doing amazing. Like, here's medicine to help make you feel better.
like the
Whatever.
best way to describe it is like every morning, we talked about this on the last podcast. If I miss Dani's coffee, she's forgotten. And so codependent Jordan would have been like, I have to wake up in the morning. I have to do this because if I don't do this, then Dani won't feel loved and then she's going to be sad and then it's going to make me anxious all day and I have a busy day and I have to do this, right?
It's the breastfeeding era. Yes.
Right. Whereas I think like a post-onsite Jordan would say, hey, I'm so grateful for my wife and I'm so grateful that she is like awake breastfeeding. And I would love to, as an overpouring of that, I would love to serve her and treat her like a queen. All that was needed was forgiveness. So that's where we're at. I blew up my life. Bye.
Ugh, the deep shit right now.
I thought it was good. I mean, I feel like you're exhausted, but
Ugh, these emotions. So much.
yeah.
But yeah, so now Jordan, I mean, you made some really great friends there. You you still have some really funny stories. They kind of encouraged you. This is what Jordan told me. They encourage you not to speak about it too much with your spouse and to like process for 30 days, really. Because it's a lot to come home and be like, I'm a different person. I used to hate you. Now I love you. I have all these new friends. Me. And then like, I don't I have to tell you something. The first time.
It's so real though.
The first time
we all talked about it. We were like,
it's like summer camp.
We like don't know what to leave and say. Like,
you're like on a summer camp high. You're like,
yeah, like no one's gonna understand.
This is the first time that I talked to you. Like even when I talked to you on the phone for the first time after like you got your phone back, I texted my therapist and he was like, how'd it go? I go, well, he's different. He's definitely different. He talks like a yogi now. And I put like the little like thing like.
What if I like came back and I like had braids in my hair and I'm like, namaste.
Literally. I was like, yeah, he's definitely different. But yeah, so I'm sure I will learn more. And I like some of those exercises. I want you to do them on me.
Who would you put in your hula hoops? What would be your character trait? This is good. Let's do this.
Okay, my character trait would be what is it? One that I definitely am or something?
Yeah, a character trait of Dani that you think is good.
I mean, I think I'm kind to a lot of people.
Okay. Who's a friend that would say good things about you?
Oh shit.
I know.
No, I'm kidding. I think a lot of my friends, maybe
pick one.
Let's just say Ellie.
Okay. And then what do you call your higher power?
God.
Okay. So now as kindness, I want you to speak to Dani about all the ways, all the roles that kindness plays in her life. I think I did that right.
Or kindness speak to Dani
Mhm.
about how, hi Dani, I'm kindness. How this is how I play a role in your life? Is that what it
Sure.
is?
Yeah. What does kindness need to say to Dani?
Kindness says, thank you for using me to care about a lot of people and to not make people feel less than. And thanks for like seeing everybody as equal. That's very kind. And making people's days better and yeah, just thanks for that. I don't know. I'm not good at this.
It's hard, right? What does Ellie say?
Ellie says, I'm really proud of you. You're doing great. I see you're listening and learning and trying your best. And you're strong and you're an amazing mom. And just I'm proud of you.
Do you believe what kindness and Ellie are saying?
Yeah.
Do you?
No, I do.
Okay. What does God say?
I think God says, I'm so glad we're close again. I've been really missing you. We're doing well. I'm glad we checked in today. Don't forget about me tomorrow. That's me.
That's good. It's good stuff. I'm actually tired. I'm emotionally exhausted from this.
Okay, yeah, same. Well, man, I mean, we had a lot of other like crazy things kind of happen this week. Wait, we'll save it for next episode because this is so freaking this was a lot in and of itself.
I told you I didn't have to talk about it.
No, it's great. I'm so happy you did. I want to go.
Huh?
I want to go.
No, you're for sure. Well, sorry.
No, I want to talk to little Dani.
Yeah.
Little Dani has some problems.
It will F you up.
It's like that trend.
This place like F's you up so bad.
It's a trend on TikTok that's like, I'm sorry, I'm getting really annoyed when people are doing them, but it's like, I went to coffee with my younger self. She showed up late. I was on time. Like, you know, everyone does that. Like, she was frazzled wearing a t-shirt and shorts. I was wearing sweats and pants. And like, she didn't know what like her life was going to be. She was so stressed out. I was content and at peace. Like, have you seen those?
Yeah. I don't want to be controlling and codependent, but I would love for you to go here.
Oh, okay.
I'm
breastfeeding, babe.
No, not right now.
Don't forget.
I don't even think they have an opening, but like
no, send me away. Send me away to side camp. I will spice in that place up. I will bring kindness.
It's so funny because you think like you're gonna bring something to it. It's gonna bring something to you.
No, I know it would. It would break me down for sure. I want to talk to little Dani. My issue that I had to work on, that I could probably still work on a lot, is the little Dani never feeling good enough.
Oh yeah.
She never felt good enough or pretty or smart or anything. That's why she had to perform.
Yeah.
That's why I'm an Instagrammer. That's why I'm an influencer. So everybody can make me feel good about myself. It's horrible. Just like my picture so I like myself.
Man, a year from now, we are going to be so hella healthy. It's unreal.
I'm going to get like just 1,000 likes on my photo and I'll be like, I don't care.
Where are we going to do our vow renewal? Cabo?
Oh, yeah. No, let's go to like Italy.
Well, like
we invite like all our friends to Italy for a vow renewal. Oh my God, that's so extra. Okay. I'll do it. Anyway, thanks for listening to this week's episode of De-Influence. It's really
I think it was like a good one.
Make sure you follow us on TikTok and Instagram at De-Influence Podcast. We love you guys, and we'll talk to you later. Adios.
Please note that this episode may contain paid endorsements and advertisements for products and services. Individuals on the show may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to in this episode.